Just a quick point on that around the PPE. Obviously, a massive. For a first start, again, it's the ability to clip into. I think most people, unless you actually spend time looking at it, you don't realise that how many different types of hard hat exist in the world. So there's that element. But of course, the new one is masks. And going back to the point we were saying at the top, in a post-pandemic world, I think masks are still going to be fairly prevalent, at least for the next 18 months potentially. But voice recognition is crucial.
Yeah.
Is that a
true.
challenge?
So that was the main aspect of our device. Not only is it rugged, but fit for purpose, it is uniquely speech driven. Other companies have got speech and they've got touch. They've got little buttons up here. They've got swipe pads, which for us from day one, that's never going to work because many of my users have got gloves on, they're carrying tools, they're climbing ladders. You can't be swiping and touching buttons halfway up a wind turbine, for example. So we've always said from day one, voice has to work. It has to work all the time to allow me to drive everything. And it does. We've spent a lot of time making our voice work. And that even includes in high noise. 95, 98 decibels of noise, I can still just talk to my system without any training. And it just works all the time. So that's always been a primary role. I think the alternative in smart glasses right now, if you look into it, is the concept of gestures to control your device. What does that mean? That typically means holding out your hand like this and doing some minority report sort of thing, where you're expanding windows, you're tapping, tapping, tapping. The moment, it sounds all exciting when you try this on in a demo in a trade fair, but the moment you've had to type in your username and email address 3 or 4 times on a virtual keyboard by pecking away and realizing your arm's getting tired, it becomes less exciting, put it that way. And so I think the voice interface on our device has really been a big advantage for us and continues to do that. Plus the fact we now have 15 different languages supported. And as you've mentioned earlier, even within any specific language, it's very accent resilient. So in English, for example, I can have Indian English, Australian English, Welsh English, English English, American English, all of them just working with the same system. It just works perfectly. So, and it has to, because if we don't get it to work, we have a lemon in your head.
Yeah, which kind of, but I absolutely, first of all, in terms of that typing, having trialed a lot of these tools and toys, yeah, it's not something I'd want to have to do as part of my day-to-day interaction. The point around gloves is very pressing. I'm sure that was a bit of a epiphany for quite a few people trying to work some of these things out. Because quite frankly, that again, having to swipe, it's perhaps not the most efficient way of doing things anyway. But having to take a glove off and do it constantly. Just to go back to the PPE point very briefly, have you guys? I'm just wondering whether have you guys had to do any testing around that? Because I would imagine people are more muffled.
We have tested. We have very good audio test labs set up in our head office where we do a lot of this work, and we have tested extensively with masks, and we see no impact to the performance. Even in high noise, the system just works and works and works, which has been essential for us, of course. And so, it's one of the things we weren't expecting to deal with, but we've dealt with it, and it's not a problem for us.
Yeah. Okay. Because you could. I'm just thinking, if something is reliant on voice, then we set him up. So it's good to know that that's something. Do you think that? I mean, not to ask you to speak for the entirety of the industry, but again, if what the purpose of this is to kind of give our audience a series of tick boxes of like, these are things that they should ask any vendor. Is that a fair request for if somebody comes to you and says, look, Chris, we like this product, we like the fact it's voice activated, but have you tested against it being used? Is that a fair question, and do you think most companies would have gone down that route?
This is a tool that people rely on, and if it doesn't work in my day-to-day life, then I can't use it. So it's very fair to say, I'm wearing masks today, I'm wearing face shields today. Can I use it? Well, yes, you can. This actually fits underneath the face shield, the big perspex ones, or it fits over the top of a paper mask, and it just works perfectly in either case. So, not an issue. I think some of the other issues, going back to smart glasses, is what's the difference between a smart glass and our device when it comes to this whole concept of usability? The smart glass form factor, where you've got a pair of see-through lenses in front of you and you project that, it is available. There's companies out there selling it. I believe Microsoft and HoloLens is probably the leading category right now. Absolutely fantastic devices, really good. They give you this 3D imagery, you get immersed in this 3D, and you get to see really cool stuff. But there's a challenge there that is different from our device. We don't do the 3D. We have this display that sits below the line of sight. We do that so I can preserve my complete peripheral vision. I need to know what's going on around me. I don't need to have any of my eyesight blocked because of safety. I need to know if that forklift is hurling towards me or whether that crane is about to swing and drop something on me. So having full awareness of what's going on around me is essential for these devices. And that's one of the benefits of our device, which, for those who haven't seen it, is it wears like this. So the device is below the line of sight. And I look up and I look around me. So the effect you get is the same as driving a car. When you drive a car, you sit there behind the steering wheel and you look out through the windshield or the windscreen ahead of you. You have full awareness really of what's ahead of you, to the side of you, not an issue. Nothing blocking you really. And in that case, our device is very much like the built-in GPS map that you might have in the console of your car. You look down, you glance down, and you see this display, you get the information you need, and then you glance back up to the road again. You're not sitting there reading a book on the console. This device is not designed for long-term attention. It's not for reading books, watching long videos per se. It's for what we call information snacking. Just get the information, glance down, and then your eyes are back on the job. Eyes forward, hands free, is what we say. So what happens in these smart glasses is that when they immerse you in this 3D environment, which they do very well, they do that by putting images right in front of your eye. And that itself, for the moment you've got a big PDF or you've got a big telepresence imagery going on in front of you, you've now blocked yourself out from what's happening behind there. And that could be dangerous.